So we're going to see a lot of those normal levels of volume probably sometime around the end of May, beginning of June. As we get back up to 5,000, I would say 5,000 is a good healthy number for the past couple of years. Once we get past that point, we could dramatically see. This isn't a true forecast, but we could see a lot of, if rates come down and lots of people go home shopping for the summer, you could see a lot of houses go on the market.
Yeah, I think that would be exciting for a lot of folks to be able to have more opportunity, and for people wwho are locked in at 3%, and they're like, oh, I can't move out because I don't want to pay, maybe $500, maybe $1,000 more depending on the size of the mortgage. But yeah, I think that's definitely the thing about the volume is if we can get back to that level, it's going to make it a much more digestible situation for buyers and people who are trying to list their homes and then buy another home. So yeah, I think then, we really need to talk about what absorption rate is. And I think the funny thing is this is not related to any sort of towels or sponges. We're not absorbing water. This is about home sales. So just explain that in a couple of sentences so people can understand that.
Yeah, absorption rate is sort of this buzzword that gets thrown around, or month supply, as some might call it. So the way to think of it is a pond, right? The real estate market is a big pond. There's a stream coming in, that's your new listings. And then there's a drain flowing out, that's your sales, your buyers coming in, people taking it off the market. So a lot of that absorption rate comes down to, how many months would it take to drain the entire pond? How many months would it take to sell the entire market?
Dying over here.
I know.
Like a frog.
Frog in my throat. Talking about ponds. But, that absorption rate, if it comes down, we're looking at more of a seller's market. And if it comes up, we're looking at more of a buyer's market. Typically, what we consider to be an even balanced market is about 6 months supply. But back in 2020, 2022, that era, we were looking at like half a month's supply.
Jeez. Well, I'm glad we're not there now. I do kind of yearn for those days because it was a very busy time for real estate in general.
Quite
but
crazy.
Definitely a lot of people tearing their hair out just because of deals falling through, especially for listing agents and for sellers. But for buyers especially, they lost out sometimes and were paying well above the going price, sight unseen. So
yeah, I got in right at the tail end of that, and it was
yeah.
It was a bunch of frustration.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, 100%. So just so I want to make sure I'm on the same page with you. So absorption rate is how many months it would take for all of the current listings on the market to sell if no other listings were added, right? That's
exactly. If we dammed up the river going into the pond, how long would it take for the rest of the pond to drain?
Okay. That's a terrible pond. I don't want to be a part of that pond.
Yeah.
But
it's dry. It's nasty.
Yeah, very dry, nasty. But okay, so that's great. I think absorption rate is something that people do need to know is when that number's higher, you're going to be in a good spot if you're a buyer. If you're a buyer. If you're a seller, what would you say how that impacts?
So absorption rate really will just dictate how fast you sell your home. Mm-hmm. And typically, the lower the absorption rate, the better the price you can also get because, it's basic supply and demand.
Yeah.
The more supply there is and the less demand, the lower prices go. The less supply and more demand side, the prices just start to climb. That's what we saw in, the COVID real estate boom, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so we're aware, again, the higher the absorption rate, so let's say it's 6, the better your odds as a buyer are going to be. The lower the absorption rate is, the better it's going to be for you as a seller.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so cool.
It's the pulse of the market.
The pulse of the market. Here we are talking about bodies of water. All right, so I think then we wanted to talk about one more thing, was just the sale to list ratio. This also impacts the market too. I know we're talking so many graphs, we're talking text.
A lot of numbers,
okay, understand this graph with me. Like this is high school PowerPoint presentation time. But, you know, this stuff is really important, guys. I think it helps you guys be better equipped when you are going out there to purchase your home.